Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Fernando Cuellar.
And I'm Gavin Courtney.
And thank you for joining us this morning.
It's a lovely Tuesday morning, actually.
Yes, it is. And of course, it is my first day back. And I wanted to take the opportunity this morning very quickly to just say thank you to everyone who has reached out since the passing of my mother last week. It's been a week and a half. And it's been a really tough time, but I have to say that seeing the stories that people have shared and how they have reflected on her memories have really been quite a comfort during this time. And so, you know, the family is tremendously grateful for all the support that people have given us, how people have showed up in so many different ways, you know, from kind words to flowers to so many different things that people have done for us, and we are so grateful. And I just wanted to start off by saying thank you with that.
And we're glad to have you back here, Marlene.
Yeah.
And definitely appreciate that your mom was very special and touched several lives. So.
Yeah, it's a process. Grieving is a process. I realize we don't talk about that very often, and it's a new experience for me, but you know, like everything else and like so many others who've lost special persons in their lives, we do have to push forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and with that.
Yep, there's a lot to discuss this morning. Shortly before we came on air, Marlene and I were talking about some of the news items which are featured on last night's evening newscast. And one of them which made waves, especially here in Belize City, was the blocking of the entrance to the Kruman Lagoon area in Belize City. That was because, whilst there are residents of the community who don't have title to the land, the actual area where they live was not necessarily the area of concern, but the entrance of the community is privately held land, and the landowner yesterday chose to erect a barrier, and so it caused a lot of contention in the community last night, and there was intervention by members of the city council to try to quell the situation, but of course, tensions were a bit high as we saw the events unfold yesterday.
Yeah, I think there was concern that it would be a flare-up. Clearly, you see the community members out there concerned because they can't get back to their homes. It's a really interesting story for several reasons. Because one, I know that Councillor Pollard spoke yesterday that there is a process in how to handle these things. I can tell you, I don't know exactly what that process is if you're using private property. So there are 2 points of view. One is looking at squatting and how you are able to handle the situation of people who have created a space for their home, not necessarily with ownership over the property. How do you humanely move them? Because you can't just put people out on the streets, or I would imagine it's not the ideal way to deal with it. But then at the same time, too, if someone owns a property, how do they handle if they're having trespassing issues? And so there has to be a middle ground other than being able to just block people out of their homes.
It's very difficult, Marlene, and I've had experience with this particular issue in the legal sphere. So it's really, as you say, a tough balancing act to balance what are the rights of both parties. And of course, it sounds very, it sounds almost, natural to think that, a private landowner has, absolute rights. But you also want to consider, how the actions affect other people.
Yeah.
And of course, this is a multifaceted problem, and we have situations where, and this is across the country,
Yeah.
where we have situations with people, who don't have title to land or, any form of title to property. And they feel forced, that they don't have any choice but to, just set up on land that they find that's available and free.
Yeah.
And of course, that creates a whole lot of different problems, not only for the landowner, but also for the authorities, such as the municipality council, because it's like, well, how do you deal with these people? Especially a lot of times they don't have proper access to electricity, to utilities in general.
Usually living in very high-risk environments.
Exactly, I know, especially, as we were talking, over the past few weeks about communities that are vulnerable to, the climate change and weather and stuff. And, this area, of course, near Crewman Lagoon was once a large catchment area for runoff of floodwaters and rainwaters from Belize City. A portion of it was filled in the past few years, and of course that has created more flooding in different parts of the city, and of course right next door. So of course this is another one of those areas.
Yeah.
So we'll see how these events unfold.
Yeah, I think what we saw yesterday was the real life consequence of a property owner trying to set boundaries, literally.
Yes.
In what was happening there, and then you see families
Yep.
congregated outside of this concrete wall, just really attempting to get back into the safety of their home. Now it's understood, and I don't know the details or particulars of all the families there, but some have clearly indicated that they were squatting, and I think that's the part. It is a tough situation. I think being able to allow them to go home for the night is a right decision to make. But it shows that this is probably going to be an issue that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, because there's now frustration on both sides.
Yeah, and then from the other side, I mean, people, land. I mean, and this is why land is such an important issue. And if people do follow the process, of course, like let's say if they go the route of getting registered title, if they buy land, and they make a big investment, of course they'll want to protect, property which is important to them. So you can't fault the landowner for wanting to, exercise control over the property. I think what people have been talking about is, of course, the method. And whether there's any route that can for a peaceful or solution to this issue, because it's affecting a lot of people. So we'll see how that unfolds.
Yeah. Well, I think this latest attempt certainly brings it back into the spotlight and back, because we've seen, especially with the crewman area, how that has consistently been it's been in the news before. So it is brought back into the spotlight. And you said before, this is why we have to pay attention to decisions that are made, especially when it comes to how people are able to access land in this country. When we saw the Minister of Lands moving around the country, helping people to secure titles that they were still in a process, or helping people to start the process, to apply for a piece of land, it is absolutely essential. Well, one of the primary needs that we have is shelter. And we have to be real about what people can actually afford.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, this is an issue which has been which successive governments have been looking at, and how to find equitable or land access to people, especially considering Belize has such a high immigrant population, and we see that a lot of times that's the population who gets directly affected, because we get this, we see the stories of, around election time, we see all these mass nationalizations and people coming in, and then the question is, what happens afterwards? And we know that there are communities all over the country which have, which are not, let's say, formally, let's say, organized in the sense of, everybody has their title, and, people just develop communities because they feel like they don't have any choice, and the options which are available are not really realistic in terms of, you know, can I purchase land, or, you know, so.
Or even the concentration of the population here in Belize City and available land. That's a whole other matter, and it takes me back to one of the things that I know the Prime Minister had said right here on the show, where they were going to look into acquiring properties that have been unused in certain areas. We haven't gotten much details about that. I'm sure many property owners are extremely nervous about that idea, but the fact is that there is limited space available in the city.
True.
It's the area, it's the place that you are most likely to get work compared to any other part of the country. And so it does bring up a situation where we need to, and you know, if I go even further to other conversations with things like planners, looking at zones, looking at where you put together housing developments. These are all really critical to our development because situations like these will continue to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think that's one of the keys, planning and greater enforcement of some of the regulations that we do have already. But clearly there's going to be new things which we'll need to sort of adapt to the different situations as we see them. And of course the city, as you say, is growing. It's still considered the you know, the hub of our most of our economic activity. So people are going to be people are going to continue to come, and people are going to be looking for work. So it's to see how we can manage the resources of the city as best as possible.
And if not housing, reliable transportation. That you can be ushered back and forth to another area of the country. But once again, it just shows kind of the domino effect of where poor planning very often leads people in desperate situations. And while they're not ideal, and I know there's a lot of judgment cast on both sides of this argument. It's going to be a hot debate for sure. Should the property owner do it, or what about the fact that people are claiming property essentially when they squat or create a home there? You can see the valid points on both sides, but at the end of the day, these are families and human beings that are simply looking for some place to safely rest their head at night.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, but that, of course, was something that developed through yesterday with a solution carved out late in the evening. We'll give you more follow-up on that in our newscast tonight at 6 p.m. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then other things that we've been looking at, of course, it's the COVID situation in the country. It is the curfew changes.
As of the 22nd
22nd,
of Monday,
yes.
That's next week, Monday.
Yeah.
We'll be starting to see a curfew of 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Sunday to Thursday.
Yeah.
And then on Friday and Saturday, we will have a curfew up until 11 p.m.
Yeah.
But that announcement was made last week. But one of the ones which has really been making waves was an announcement which came from the Ministry of Health and Wellness yesterday, which was announcing that all essential workers and public officers, public officers and other essential workers will have to be vaccinated. And if they do not, at least insofar as the public workers are concerned, they may face discipline. They may face disciplinary sanctions if they do not comply and be vaccinated by the deadline.
Well, see, this is interesting because this was first proposed and then it was softened a bit and now we're back to it again. I don't know if you've been monitoring, Gavin, but our vaccination rate seems to be stagnating, just at about a bit over 50%. It is a very concerning situation because, of course, we're all looking at how we can move out of this phase of the pandemic. And whether or not the remainder of people choose to get vaccinated is going to be based on two things. One, if there is a public mandate. If we move to what we're seeing in other parts of the world, you know, you have to show a vaccination card to pretty much do anything outside of your home. Or if there is better education to help to convince those who are still on the fence understanding that there will be a minority of people, very small group, who will say absolutely no to vaccines, but those who are on the fence and uncertain, to be able to get them to be feel more comfortable getting the vaccines, because it's a cycle. You know, we're seeing increasing cases, we're seeing these spikes, we see increased regulations. We get tired of the regulations, but we don't do enough to protect each other from COVID. And so, you know, it is almost, I can't imagine what our next solution will be, but this is going back to one of the original ideas.
Yes, and you know, as you rightly said, this is actually following the trend internationally of what is going on. Because in several countries, even with much higher vaccination rates, they're still seeing they're still seeing spikes and stuff every now and again, even in Europe and North America. And so it seems typical of the virus to be going through these sorts of spikes of transmission. And at this point in time, you know, the best way to still manage that publicly, at least as being recommended by the medical and scientific community, is vaccination, because it does it also reduces the risk of spreading it, which even if it's 1% less, it's less. Yeah. So I think that that has to be taken into consideration. But more importantly, it does reduce the possibilities of contracting a severe case, so that even if there are a number of infections, then the healthcare system won't be under too much strain. So the vaccination drives have been much more aggressive internationally, and we're seeing in countries like France, like Germany, that are requiring vaccination cards, as you said, almost to, you know, do anything to enter any public space.
You either be a hermit or you get vaccinated, because you won't be able to get access to anything. And so we'll see. I know last week the conversation came to the forefront about balancing restrictions with COVID, with keeping the economy going. But it's like it's like a chicken and egg here. You know, you want to get the economy going, but then people are fearful of COVID.
Yep.
And if we don't get COVID under control, then how do we attract more people to come here? So it is a constant balancing act. And I think in seeing this latest move, it indicates, and I don't know if we'll see further measures, if this will be a test run, where we'll see more vaccine mandates instead of kind of the opt-in of tests or still having places that you can go without showing proof of vaccination.
For sure. And I think that one of the things that will also affect greatly our rate is, you know, the age of persons who are eligible to be vaccinated. Belize does have a very young population, and vaccines are available still to the population 12 and older. But we're also seeing that vaccines are being approved in other countries for children as young as 5. So if that is the case in Belize, then that will also cause a significant number, I would expect. Especially with the reopening of schools. More and more are getting face-to-face under different conditions. But ultimately, the goal is to return to you know, the normal classroom setting. Face-to-face learning.
And I'm sure if you talk to any parent, they do want their child to go back to school. They do have concerns, and I think that is understandable, because you don't know who you may expose in your household. But the majority are kind of just ready to have their children go back into a formal system. We haven't heard anything from the Ministry of Health as to whether or not Belize will be exploring the 5 to 11 vaccine rollout. It is literally just starting in the United States, and that is with the Pfizer vaccine, which we did receive a recent additional batch of Pfizer vaccines. And those are also being used for booster shots. So that's also a key part. And I tell people, you know, that it is absolutely essential that you get your booster shots. It's clear that with the change in the variants, that the vaccines that many of us have gotten at around 6 months ago, it's not holding up to this variant. It works to protect some, but not all. And so the best thing you can do is add another layer of protection. so that you can be able to, let's think of it this way. If you have a house, you put windows that are difficult for a burglar to get in. You put burglar bars for additional protection. You put cameras for additional protection. And you join a neighborhood watch group. You add all these different layers because what's inside is important. That's what you're doing with your body. We are trying to ensure that we can reduce the chances of contracting the virus and, facing the consequences of severe COVID, hospitalization, and even loss of life.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I like that metaphor with the house. I also like the metaphors that people make with driving too. With that, it's like wearing your seatbelt, or it's like having a windshield on your car.
Yeah.
Because you can drive. Driving in and of itself can be considered a dangerous activity, but you take steps to mitigate the risks, and that's included by all of that activity. So COVID is the same thing. So it should be, and in addition to that, of course, we can't say it enough. We still have to be very stringent about following the other protocols, wearing your mask, keeping your distance, your physical distance from persons 6 feet if in public spaces, and washing your hands regularly. If you can't do that, using your hand sanitizer, not touching your face, not touching your mask. All of those things are extremely important. So all of it goes back to the same thing. It's about protecting you and protecting those around you.
That's right. All right, but we got to get moving into the rest of our show for this morning. So we are going to shift gears into some motivation to get you started. That means it's time for our eye opener. And our eye opener, taken from dailyom.com, goes like this. Surrender should be seen as a great strength and comes when we let go of trying to attain the impossible. Most of us were raised and live in a culture that emphasizes the ideals of independence and control. The general idea is that we are on our own and we don't need any help from anyone else. And if we are really successful, it's because we are in complete control. However, true lasting success comes only with surrender, which is the opposite of control. We cannot accomplish anything truly great on our own without any help. And the idea that we can is an illusion that causes most of us a great deal of suffering. Surrender comes when we see that illusion and let go of trying to attain the impossible. Surrender can then be seen as a great strength rather than a weakness. When we finally do surrender, our goals actually become possible because the act of surrender is, in essence, asking for the help we need. This help may come in the form of other human beings or unseen helpers, such as angels or inner guides. It may also come in the form of shifting circumstances, the small miracles that we call grace.
I really like that eye opener, and I think it's really true about the surrender to things, and the idea that we always have to be in control is something that can be really damaging, and especially like if you're somebody who has anxiety or has issues like that, then not being in control of certain situations can really be a problem. And I've had experiences like that for sure. But there is, and this is further to the eye opener, there's a real let's say there's a feeling of, I suppose, relief or something when you do realize that a lot of things are beyond your control, and you try to work with that. And I think that once you do that, then it allows you, and then once you can control the things that you can, you say, okay, well, I can do this. This is within my control. I've done my part.
Yeah.
Other part after that, then you can't really do anymore. So you can't, you don't get down on yourself if things don't go the way you want them to, because a lot of it is beyond your control, especially when you're talking about other people and what you may think they're thinking or doing, So you can't.
Oh, especially that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes me back to one of the things that I really rely upon just in my daily life, which is the serenity prayer. There is so much that you cannot control in this life. And that is a tough pill for many to swallow. And so it's knowing when you have to fight to keep or get control, or when you simply have to let go and say it's out of my hands. And that is the core of the Serenity Prayer, which, I think is helpful for anybody who struggles with this.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that we do in our own separate ways find ways to deal with this, because it can range from very small things, or like little things that you have to do in your household or maybe at work, to some of the bigger problems that you do have to solve or deal with. There is a lot that's beyond your control, but if you do your best, then of course, surrendering to everything else can feel a bit easier. That's
a lie, guys.
Right?
It never feels easy.
No.
For some people, it never feels easy.
Yeah, okay, true. But at least if you can say that, well, try to recognize what it is that your contribution can be, or what you can do. And then once you stop there, then, be like...
No, I do that. I do that mental shift where I'm like, focus on the controllables.
Yes.
And so it gives you that sense of control.
Yeah. Or at least
it gives you that opportunity to focus on something that perhaps you can be able to fix the outcome.
Absolutely. Or you can even just like sort of prepare yourself to be in like those situations where things are beyond your control, So that can work.
All right. Well, we got to shift gears into our weather, and we're going to find out what the latest is from the National Met Service of Belize with Francisca Wellington.
Good morning. Moist and unstable conditions linger over the area and will support cloudy spells today and tonight. A few showers, periods of rain, and isolated thunderstorms will affect many coastal and northern areas. This will continue Wednesday and Wednesday night. Winds today will be out of the east and northeast, 5 to 15 knots, and seas will be choppy. A small craft caution remains in effect for possible gusty winds and locally rough seas near heavy showers or thunderstorms. High tides occur at 8:26 this morning and 8:11 tonight. Low tides follow at 2:10 this afternoon and 3:04 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon peak at 72 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 82 along the coast, and 85 inland. The moon comes up at 3:45 this afternoon, and sunset is at 5:16 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, impacts from sargassum over the area are expected to remain low to minimal during the next few days. In the tropical weather outlook, tropical cyclone formation is not expected in the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, or Gulf of Mexico during the next 48 hours. And that's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
There you go. So it does stay nice and cool, but it does mean you have to tolerate some showers along with it.
Yeah, I know. I was looking forward to maybe some sun today, but maybe not.
Well, pick one. Do you want the lower temperatures or you want sun?
Right. Well, right now, I think I like the sun right now just because I've been gardening lately. So I want my plants to get some sunlight after yesterday.
They get a little during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. But the good news is that we are in the final 2 weeks of November, and still there's nothing churning out in the Atlantic. I got to knock on wood somewhere, because we know how storms can form even outside of the hurricane season, but so far it's been quiet, which we welcome.
Absolutely. We hope that we do make it through the hurricane season without any serious adverse effects, especially not a hurricane, but of course last year we did see substantial flooding. Mm-hmm. So if we do make it through the rainy season without something, really bad like that, then I think we would be really blessed. So here's to hoping for that over the next 2-3 weeks.
All right.
But of course, we've got a lot to get into on our show this morning. We have got some great conversations lined up. Our first conversation will be with Dr. Fernando Cuellar. Of course, he has been making news recently for his departure from the board of the Carl Hirschner Memorial Hospital. So he's going to be coming in and explaining his decision and shedding some light on that in our first conversation this morning.
All right. And the second part of our show, a bit of a focus on technology and how it's being used within our marine ecosystem. World GIS Day is coming up, and they are celebrating under the theme Developing Spatial Literacy, Inspiring a Generation, Building Our Future. We'll talk to the Managing Director of Total Business Solution and, of course, one of the users of the GIS system at the Coastal Zone Management Institute and Authority.
And finally, we are going to be getting an update from Disco, and they're going to be telling us all about their latest promotions and events. So if you want to check that out, that's going to be our final conversation for this morning. And then, of course, I'm going to wrap things up by telling you about what has been trending on social media over the past few weeks, and that is our show for today.
All right, but we got to go ahead and take a break, and we got a birthday shout out.
Yes, we do. And so from all of us here at Open Your Eyes and Channel 5, we want to wish a very, very, very happy birthday to Nicole Butler. So Nicole, happy birthday. We hope that you have a great day, and we wish you many more.
All right, and we're going to take that break now, and we'll be back in a few, so stay tuned.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average of about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
The TV you love is always with you, from live TV, sports, and on-demand titles. Choose your plan today. Plans start as low as $15 per month. My TV, entertainment, anytime, anywhere.
Today's COVID update is brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
And we're back. And if you're joining us right now, we are starting our first conversation for this morning. And as we said before the break, we are going to be joined by Dr. Fernando Cuellar, who is an internist at the Belize Medical Associates. And Dr. Cuellar, of course, has made waves in the media recently for his decision to leave the board of the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital. And he's here this morning joining us via Zoom to share a bit about that decision. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Marlene.
It's great to have you in this morning. And of course, people have been making a lot of of your decision last week. So perhaps you can take us back a little bit and tell us, actually before the decision was made, can you talk a bit about some of the problems or concerns that you had with some of the state of affairs before you came to the decision itself?
Well, thanks for having me this morning, guys, and allow me to clarify. I think sometimes we have a bit of misinformation. Two things. One, of course, I was telling Marlene or you all off camera that I'm hoping that this would blow over like a little breeze, as the local cliche has said many times, no? And this would be my last discussion about this particular issue publicly, but I'm sure I will still remain engaged with the whole healthcare system and delivery of care in Belize. No? I've been doing that for the past 30 years, even as a general practitioner, working at the district hospital in Orange. I became very vocal and known also for having radio shows there when I was the person in charge and discussing the delivery of care in Orange and saying what I had to say. And then, of course, as the chief of staff at Kalusha from 2001 and 2007, we also were very outspoken. So this is nothing new. And I'm sure that I will continue, because when I think I have something to contribute, then I'll do that, no? Mm-hmm. I was appointed to the board by the Minister of Health 2 months ago, so I think it's a record time for anybody holding a post in a board. And I didn't try to think that I can contribute from within, no? Knowing fully well the whole ills of the Ministry of Health. And although the focus right now will be on Kalusha, I want to also extend attention to the whole system, the whole regional hospitals where the healthcare delivery is being affected by the lack of supplies and materials, and kudos to our colleagues who practice and deliver care in circumstances that I'm sure that is less than adequate. But basically, not to go around the mulberry bush too much, Kalusha is in dire need of a lot of different things. No? Kalusha is a safety net for those many people, a great percentage of our population, to get some type of health care. And of course, it does also work as the referral hospital where we should be able to provide tertiary care for the country. The subvention that is given once a month is not enough. And particularly if you use that subvention for up to the point of 80% of it for paying salaries and the day-to-day management, there's little that is left to absorb additional expenses. Mm-hmm. And since COVID, anyone who could understand that you have had to incur in additional expenses. It's practically like two hospitals in one. We have a COVID hospital and we have the regular hospital. And there's been a lot of adjustments to channel money towards the COVID area. And of course, with donation, and so we've managed to come by things that can be purchased are purchased. One of the standing thing is that we don't have human resources, but you can't go to market to buy that. No? So hopefully we learn from this and plan for proper human resource development. I hear things like having intensivists, more intensivists, but that's at the bottom of the ladder. We need more nurses, for example. We need more X-ray technician, more lab tech. We need a lot of other things before we get to the area of the intensive care specialists.
Let me just, if I could just jump in here, because I'd really want to get to the crux of the matter here. You know, being appointed to the board is something that many people, for you to be appointed to the board, was something that many people looked on and saw as a positive change because you have been very vocal about weaknesses in our healthcare system. And you have been very straightforward in helping to educate people through the pandemic and other issues as well. So my question is, when you're put in a position where you may actually be able to affect change, why give up that opportunity?
Yes, that's a good question, Marlene. And well, I took that appointment with the idea of zero tolerance. I have seen the movies played over and over when it comes to politics and what's happening in Belize. And what triggered this is that we had the team leader in healthcare, the Minister of Health, nobody else, actually said on public television that the Board of Governors was not doing their job. And he knows very well that's farthest from the truth. The chairman, the deputy chairman, the new CEO, and everybody else have been working hard trying to face the staff, because the staff is frustrated, the morale is down, and we're trying to tell him then things will get better, where it won't happen overnight. So he knows more than anybody else. I wouldn't have reacted the way I did if the other person say something like that, that we're not pulling our weight. But he said it categorically, that the Board of Governors needs to step up. I've actually been approached that I don't know the meaning of step up. And I misinterpreted, but I know what that meant. That means that you're not going to do your job, so you need, and we are giving you everything to do your job, and you're not doing it. And what was also very saddening, addition to that, is that when I instigated a discussion amongst the board members, on the chat, a couple of them actually came out in defense of the minister. Okay, it said that were saying like things like, listen, we don't want to say nothing publicly, we don't want to give the impression that we're fighting with the minister. And I say that, how could I work with a group of people where the truth is right there, lay bare, and yet you be sensitive to the minister's image? Okay? And pretty much I had said zero tolerance. And I think that if I give one lead chance, like the Creole word say, has no way weak fence there, they happen over and over, because it has happened. That has been the modus operandi of governments, of the political parties, of politicians, that once they know that they can bamboozle you, they undo it. Okay? And I can be as effective inside and outside, I think. I'm sure, because I've done that before many times.
Yes, by being vocal, but being able to institute structural changes is different. When I hear you explain what made it deteriorate to this point, it brings me back to an old saying that says, when elephants fight, it's just the grass that gets trampled. And so essentially, we're looking, KHMH is a statutory body. They rely heavily on the subvention by government, which has for many years been inadequate, and you have the public that accesses healthcare there, majority of which assume that the service is for free, or are unable to pay their bills, and so they're constantly in debt with a minimal inflow from government. The board is left with the responsibility of somehow being able to keep the institution thriving. And this is not a business model where it's all for profit. This is about saving lives for people who need all sorts of care, because they offer care at different levels. What do you see as the way forward? If the ministry is not providing more subvention, if KHMH has all the outstanding debt that they do, even before COVID, it means that the quality of care naturally, with lack of resources, diminishes.
But again, Marlene, I don't want us to lose sight of the bigger picture. KHMH is just a part of it.
Yes.
One of the answers, for example, for KHMH to function better is to strengthen the regional hospitals. So you don't get unnecessary referrals and overburden Carlucia, things that could be dealt with regionally. But they themselves don't have resources. That's a big thing. I'm sure that if we manage to do that, the usage, the usage of Carlucia will diminish greatly. We can't have one person being sent from Southern Regional for doing a C-section because we don't have XYZ.
Yeah.
So we need to focus, and it needs for somebody in leadership to know how the system should work. And that also goes along with that I've been saying for many years, that I am convinced, and many of my colleagues are convinced, that the person who leads the Ministry of Health should have a medical background, and we should have effective people surrounding them, like the CEO, like the DHS, okay? And traditionally, our CEOs and DHS have been subservient to the minister and the without really using their technical knowledge to make a stand. They do, and it's not unique of the Ministry of Health, it's all over the different ministries, okay? We allow the political system to overcome what is right. And I don't blame the politicians entirely. I put part of the blame on us technocrats. Okay, we have, for example, right now we have a CEO who definitely has shown to be quite ineffective right now, just like past CEOs. They just do the bidding of the ministers. Okay, and likewise, look at what's happening right now. We now have a DHS for the past 11 months, and then we have this whole thing about law being changed to facilitate that kind of thing. And in a pandemic, okay, and we do need to restructure the whole Ministry of Health. We have gone through exercises, we spent millions of dollars talking about health reform and how this thing will work, but there's been no political will to install it. We only have 400,000 people, Marlene, and it doesn't need Fernando Cuellar to come out and say we need a CAT scan, for example, one CAT scan in the public system. Why would it need Fernando Cuellar to be harking on that? Why we can't have the CEO in health? Why we can't have the minister in health? Why we can't have the deputy director of health service say, you know what? For example, we are lacking a very important tool, not only at Carlucia, but in the country. I know they expect we have a CAT scan in every regional hospital. That is ridiculous. I'm not advocating for that, but one, and I see that, and I'm very much emotional about this, when I see people have to come to medical associates middle of the night in rain to do a CAT scan.
While in an emergency. You know,
I would want to line up all of the ministers and let them wait outside and see somebody intubated being brought to medical associate or brought to healthcare in the rain. In the rain, getting a service that should be there many years ago. Okay, and then I'm not talking about, for example, expensive drugs and and yes, we know about the whole pandemic causing disruption in supply chains, but I think we are not doing enough there, because in the private setting, it's getting done.
And Doctor, you know, one of my questions as you're talking is, prior to your departure, at the board level, what was the discussion like to achieve some of what you're talking about? Is it the case that that the board or that the board of KHMH wanted to see some of these improvements, but you were being met with some let's say resistance, or was it really more issues which you were having, mainly you were having?
Well, for the past 2 months, what was happening is that we had a lot of things to do. It's outing fires, it's dealing with a lot of things, and the board isn't the operational body to run the day-to-day Carlucia. The new CEO, I know she has her heart in the right place. She's young and energetic and will do things like that. But one of the big things, for example, we had to put in a management structure, which we interviewed candidates, and that took us maybe a whole month, which we think we got the correct people to do that. The second thing is trying to get extra money that was used for the COVID, okay, out of the money that was allocated in the subvention. So they came from the last administration, they had recognized that extra money needed to have been given to Carlution. There was a memorandum of understanding. I was surprised that it took us a couple of weeks and I haven't actually seen, but they say they found a memorandum and they were looking for it. Remember that whole document about the causeway that was missing? The same thing was happening with this document. It's there, but nobody knows where it is. Where the Ministry of Finance had agreed that they will put aside or give Carlution X money for the expenditure, which came out to about $5 million. And I participated in a couple of meetings where first we were told that the Ministry of Health was just waiting for the paperwork. Then Ministry of Finance was waiting. Then Ministry of Health said that, listen, you can't go directly to finance. We have to go through health. We have to okay it. We have to make sure that they're not try thief money or the money is well spent. And these back and forth for the whole month when money is needed, okay, was not satisfactory. That is why, for example, you are here about $5 million for this acute problem, but there's chronic shortages. So the whole thing, and I know that the country, economically, we are not the best place right now, but definitely more attention needs to be given to the Ministry of Health. Okay, I have traditionally noticed for the past years that the Ministry of Health does not fit in the top layer in priorities in the governments. I say that because, for example, the people who lead the ministry have not, in the past, have not been the strongest ministers or even the brightest ministers. And I also will say that, again, 100 times that we need to have proper people in place for the Ministry of Health. We need to look at what more, and it's not asking for 10 MRIs or one MRI machine. How the mix man, come on, one country, one public health system will have one basic tool.
The CAT
so there's
scan machine
that I don't think has been, the people know, the Ministry of Health people know, and I could understand in a cabinet room we have justing for attention and money, but we need to be more, the leaders have to be more cognizant that health is a big thing in the country.
Yeah, and let me just press a bit further here, because clearly, and we haven't even moved further into it. You spoke of kind of the structure that has to be, that you would like to see implemented for the healthcare system. A lot of times we talk.
Correct you right there. It's not a queer opinion. It's not a queer opinion. We've spent money where studies have been done how to restructure the health system. And the BMDA, the individual doctors, have said it privately. Yeah. And that's another problem. Okay? We don't have people coming out and talking.
Why is that? Why are you the only doctor?
They don't want some crazy like we are, because I've been labeled that. They don't want some anti-PUP this time. Okay? Last year, Cuellar was anti-UDP. So once you say something, you're labeled for one reason or the other. And me personally have voted for both governments. So I don't give a damn which color they in. Mm-hmm. But some people are hesitant to do so. I have multiple private discussions with my colleagues. And they say the same thing, but they're unwilling to put the next step forward because they will not be in favor of the ruling administration then.
But going back,
and I actually have colleagues that are partisan.
I want us to kind of dive down to one of the issues you mentioned earlier, which is the overall system and structures that are in place. I was going to say, and you clearly said it, it's not just a recommendation that comes from you. It's in essence the direction that healthcare should go, which is preventative care. It's detecting early, outside of a pandemic, detecting early, treating, encouraging lifestyle changes, working within communities and then bigger municipalities and then moving up the system. And where we focus on the National Referral Hospital, because that is in great need of care. There are other levels that need to be addressed as well. But my question is, in this type of economy, it's a triage situation. Triage is something, you know, the medical profession knows well. It's dealing with what's most urgent at this time. What do you see to be that most critical point?
Well, at this time it's COVID, of course. And that's why the whole thing about that $5 million money that was spent on COVID expenses at Carl Schuster should be looked at as a priority. Okay, of course the paperwork has to be properly done. That yes, you know, they try thief money, you know, try get extra money for somebody else reason, but definitely it needs to be dealt with urgently. And they also, just to make people know, Carl Schuster is a semi-autonomous. It provides a safety net. It should be subsidized by government. Government have the obligation. It's not a favor to Carl Schuster. It's an obligation that you have to have a proper subvention every month, and make sure that it's properly spent. Make sure they're not a thief the cement like they tell me last week. You know how you have little wastage and thing going along, that we have to make sure that the money is well spent. We make sure that we streamline expenses, and that is responsibility of the administration with the aid and the support of the board. But Carl, you also have to have innovative ideas how to generate more funds, either through better collections. For example, we were talking about that. If the receivables are at 35 million, then you say, you know what, we have different strategies. We could look at that and say, okay, we can't collect the 35 million, but we get somebody for say, okay, boss, you owe $100, give me 50 and your debt forgiven. Okay, for example. Out of the 50, because you're going to collect from me, I'm going to give you 5. But instead I get the 100, you're still going to get something. Okay? Then I've been bombarded with a lot of recommendations how to do that better in terms of the whole business of collectors. So look at data. Look who are more likely to pay, who are unlikely to pay, and do direct strategies to collect more money. The services that can be improved there. For example, if we do the dialysis, or so we target different fee structures for that. So the board responsibility is to generate ideas of how to add on top of that subvention, okay? So that we can have introduction of private practice at Carl Schuster to generate funds. So there's a lot of things that can be done that we've been talking about for years. I tell you, this is not Cuellar thing. We've spent millions of on health reform projects of how to tell us how to provide things. You mentioned primary care, the NHI, for example. NHI should have been rolled out many years ago. Maybe the COVID dampened this one, but you hear about misuse of funds in NHI. Allegedly, nobody console me because I don't have the paperwork. I wish I would have the paperwork that they tell me exists. But it's all our fault that we, dependent on the party that is in power, we tend, the doctors and the people who support tend for, okay, let's not rock the boat too much.
And that was actually going to be one of my other questions, because you had mentioned earlier about the problem of people within your colleagues saying, privately having these discussions, but being unwilling to talk publicly about some of the problems. What has the discussion with your colleagues been like since your departure was announced last week, and you have been making some public comments? What has the discussion with your colleagues been like, over the past 2 weeks?
It has been mixed. I've had some colleagues say that I want to overthrow the government, that I am an attention seeker. Some have said that I've done the right thing. Some have said that they know that I wouldn't have been there too long because I have zero tolerance now. So it has been mixed, but the vast majority has said the BM, and I can quote a discussion with the BMDA president, suggests that I shouldn't have leave, and she said it, that I am one of the few that can talk to people in the authority the way I do and not be afraid. And I'm telling her this should be a wake-up call. I'm hoping for the other colleagues to speak up, and not only colleagues in medicine, but the whole general public, that we should realize that we need to change things and make sure that this country get forward and not being political party lackeys and support nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the response from your colleagues. Clearly, as you've spoken before, you have direct conversations with other people involved in government. Have you reached out, or have they reached out to you?
No, the only person who spoke to me by text was the CEO, Ms. Sandra, and Dr. Sosa, but nobody else. And I'm not interested to do that. I am very busy, and they know. I don't need for God telling what is the truth. They know well I know the truth.
Yeah.
We do need to improve on our acquisition of supply. It has been traditional from, I can remember when I did a whole Belize City Hospital about the hustling using the medical supplies and pharmaceuticals purchasing. Mm-hmm. Okay. This government, for example, came into power with the thing that everything was corrupted. And I yet to see what evidence of corruption in a Ministry of Health. And I'm instigating you to say how, for many, and I know, please, let's start holding people accountable. Things will not change if we don't do that. I could talk to the blue, but if we don't do that, and it's not just this government, in previous government, okay? I go to Wave TV to do some presentation with COVID, and for example, and I tell them, listen, if you want to talk about what is missing in the healthcare system, watch out, because I want also show a lot of blame on the past administration.
Yeah.
But please, people, stop towing this political line and make we do the correct thing.
Well, Doctor, we are just about out of time for this discussion, but we definitely appreciate you coming in and shedding some light on your decision and some of the issues which are facing, the medical field in Belize in general. So thanks for your discussion this morning.
Thank you, David.
All right.
And with that, we are going to be taking a very short break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking all about World GIS Day 2021. So please stay tuned, and we'll be right back after the break.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service. Working off-site doesn't mean you have to be off your game. Studies have shown that simply adding a keyboard and mouse to your laptop increases productivity by 26%. Add a monitor, and you'll be 35% more productive. At Fulltech Systems, we have what you need to enhance your remote work or e-learning experience. With devices such as headsets, video conferencing monitors, webcams, keyboards, mice, docking stations, all with the brands you trust. Keep connected with collaboration tools like Microsoft 365 Suite and Kaspersky, and perform efficiently no matter where you are. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
The region of the Americas has a proud legacy of being a global leader when it comes to vaccination. Ours was the first region to eliminate smallpox, polio, rubella, congenital rubella syndrome, and measles. we also eliminated neonatal tetanus. Now, more than ever, vaccines play a vital role in keeping us healthy. As we move forward with vaccinating against COVID-19, let us not forget the importance of our routine immunizations to keep us protected against other diseases. Talk to your healthcare provider today to make sure you and your family are up to date with all your vaccines.
Vaccines bring us closer.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband, plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
And we're back, and we're moving into our second conversation for today. As we said, World GIS Day is being commemorated, and it is an opportunity to talk about how this technology is being used in different sectors. Today, the focus will be with the Coastal Zone Management Institute and Authority. And joining us for the conversation, we have Andrea Rosado, who's the GIS and Data Management for the Coastal Zone Management. And we have Fallon Santos and Loretta Palacio, both from Total Business Solutions Limited. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being with us as well. GIS. Now we've spoken, I think we've spoke about what it is many times, but it still is a technology, I think, that isn't as clearly understood by everyone. So let's use that as our jump off point. What exactly do you mean by GIS?
Yes, but before I say what it is, my colleague Fallon was saying yesterday that you've done such a good job explaining what it is. Marlene, she just understands and said, it's been like 9 years that Channel 5 has been supporting us, so you do a good job, Marlene. And thank you for the support all these years. We really appreciate Channel 5's support.
Thank you.
So GIS is a geography information system. It's designed to capture and store, manipulate, analyze data, and present it on a map. And so it's data from anywhere. And so if we're looking at electors around the country of Belize, people who vote, and we're looking at the constituency, the numbers of these people, the gender data can be added to the constituency data and presented on a map. Mm-hmm. And so then you can see how many people are registered in the Mesopotamia division and in the Freetown, etc. So that's one example. Another example is where are the soil types that supports the production of meaning planting of papaya. So we're looking across the country. The soils have been tested. Where should I plant papaya? So those are two examples. And a description.
Yeah. So it's data collection, but with an idea of where. So I love your idea of understanding even gender demographics down to individual communities, because we can talk about what the population has, but it may be different in Corozal versus Toledo, or in Criqui-Sarco versus Mascal.
Right.
Yeah.
And so hence we always talk about GIS as a decision-making tool.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with data every day.
Yeah.
We're collecting data every day. in everything that we do, in running the country, running a business. So for you to be able to make a decision, you need to be able to have access to data and geo-enable it, meaning putting a latitude and a longitude. We learned about latitude and longitude in school. To that data in the database. And so then it can show it in a map, it can show it in different apps to show you trends, patterns, relationships. Like, okay, in the southern part, we see that females are more, susceptible to such and such disease, and stuff like that. So you are able to see more and make better decisions.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you are commemorating World GIS Day this year. Fallon, you want to take that one?
Sure, she would.
Sure. Well, we're commemorating it tomorrow, World GIS Day, with the rest of the world. I think we checked yesterday, and about 930 organizations are hosting an event tomorrow. And here in Belize, we are hosting a virtual forum. And it starts at 9 a.m. through to 12. And we have an excellent keynote speaker, Dr. Edwards from the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, Trinidad and Tobago. And we have an impressive lineup of leading GIS users in Belize, including Andrea from Coastal Zone Management Authority and Institute. So she's here to share a bit with us as well. And so we have gathered everything on our website, which is www.tbsl.bz/GISday. Very short, but you could go on our social media pages and find it. And we have all the information that would get you more excited. So whether there's the list of presenters and find out more about them, we have agenda, we have a resource hub this year where persons could celebrate with the rest of the world, not just what the presenters are saying, but go in and look at different activities. And it's geared for teachers to use in the classroom. It's geared for parents to do activities with students, because actually the rest of the world celebrates Geography Week. And so it's not just one day event. And so we're hoping that our Belizeans here would take on and do more with it, so that after you leave the one day GIS day, we keep on using GIS in our daily lives.
Yeah. Now, we used two examples so far, things like looking at demographic data. I believe, Loretta, you used the example of agriculture integrating GIS. Let's talk to Andrea about how the Coastal Zone Authority has been using it.
So good morning once again. So to start off, CZMAI is a statutory body under the Ministry of Blue Economy and Civil Aviation. And I just need to mention this important fact that we started using GIS since 1995. And at that time, we were the second government agency to use GIS. The first was the Lands Information Center in 1992. And the way that we've been using GIS is currently we're under a project to currently spatially assess mangrove, coral, and seagrass beds at a national scale within Belize. So GIS is really critical to our work because it reduces costs, improves efficiency, and it really is a game changer within the field of spatially assessing critical marine ecosystems.
Yeah.
And when you say to assess the ecosystems and things like that, how does the technology actually aid in achieving in getting some of the information that you need?
So in 1997, Coastal Zone, along with Hugo Matos, developed a national marine habitat map. And since then, at a national scale, it was not updated. And so at this time, using the updated satellite data and technology, we were able to redo that map. And so now we have satellite imagery at an even higher resolution, at a finer scale. And so we've been able to look at or determine specifically where coastal and coral ecosystems are found within Belize, where are seagrass beds located, and especially if you're trying to develop, blue carbon projects or assess where lobster habitat, which is primarily that live in these ecosystems, this information is critical.
Mm-hmm. Now let's look at some of the other practical uses for GIS. It's interesting when you talk about how the data helps in planning, but when we talk about looking at some of the challenges, whether it's illegal fishing or overfishing, is this a helpful tool in being able to mitigate those?
Yes, it is great that you brought up planning. I know, Marlene, you're familiar with our integrated coastal zone management plan, which heavily utilizes marine spatial planning. And so specifically for that plan, we had a series of stakeholder sessions in which stakeholders were asked in different consultations, what are the current conflicts within your zone or your community, and then their ideas and current challenges they were facing were then digitized or drawn within a map, and that is how we were able to develop some fishing zones that otherwise we wouldn't have had, because this directly came from the fishers or the stakeholders themselves. So we asked them, where do you particularly go to fish? So that is how we were able to develop that specific that layer.
Okay.
And perhaps Loretta, you can shed some light on how frequently this type of technology is used here, and what are some of the advantages that people might be able to get from using that if they're not using it already?
We do have several organizations in Belize using GIS, and we also say geospatial technology, because it's not only the GIS system, but also like satellite imagery, remote sensing, the GPS device. So the utilities, for example, BWSL and BEL, they have their assets mapped countrywide. So they can see where a specific meter is. BL can type in a pole number and see where that pole number is in Punta Gorda on a specific street and know how many people are connected to it, transformers. So that's a practical aspect, same as BWSL as well. They're mapping their assets so they can be able to look at their assets and attach their meters and their customers, so they can really make decisions from reconnection to new connection, expansion, looking at population, growth, new areas. We also have the Statistical Institute of Belize. We haven't read out the lineup of our presenters actually for census, mapping census data. So there's several uses. I could go on in terms of agriculture. We have BSI, ESR up north, CIRDI. They map data in sugarcane production, looking at, again, soil types and mapping farmers to their farms and pest control. They're going to be talking about pest control. Thank you for putting it up on the screen, the various types.
Tell us a bit about the guest speaker.
Yes. Dr. Edwards, Earl Edwards is a professional. He provides consultancy, but primarily he is a professor, a lecturer, at the UWI Trinidad campus. Mm-hmm. And so he brings a lot of experience. He teaches in the geoinformatics faculty there. And if you're aware of the type of professionals they put out, you would understand how excited we are to have Dr. Edwards present to us tomorrow.
Yeah. So the forum tomorrow is an opportunity to hear about how this technology is already being used in Belize. What about new areas that possess the potential to be able to integrate this technology?
Okay, Marlene, you're not setting me up right.
Who wants to take that one? I'm sure you sit with your idea cap on and you say, I wish they'd try to use GIS with X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, there are just so many areas to use a GIS as it relates to real estate, for example. I think there's room for growth there. Realtors, they're selling properties every day. Financial institutions, insurance, because you want to buy a property, right, Marlene? It's in Kyle. Do you know how many feet above sea level it is? Do you know the type of soil it's on? So that when it floods, do you know that if when you buy that farm from that farmer, that it is an area that floods every time and the crops are affected? Do you know that information? Doing digital elevation modeling, using drones, right? Because we have to use drone with GIS to be able to say, okay, I want current imagery up to yesterday on this property because I'm going to build a resort, or I'm going to plant, or I'm going to build a home, and I want to know what type of building this land can take, right?
Yeah.
And so doing an analysis of just a property, and so there's several examples. The banks, they need to be able to know, okay, I'm going to use this for collateral. So it's not only somebody who's buying, right? I use that example, but then also the banks and insurance companies, right? They need to be able to know what information is available for that area. And like some of the descriptions I just mentioned. So the uses are many, but in Belize, we tend to do things quite a bit like the long way, the more difficult way. And so services could be more expensive that way because we're not using what's available to make us move faster and more progressive. It is important to use geospatial technology to be able to, employ a digital transformation for your company or for your organization or for your just a business, a small business.
All right. And who can participate in the forum tomorrow?
Anybody can participate. We have been putting out a registration link, but we will also open up the direct link. So you don't want to enter your email, you don't want to enter your name, you just want to attend. That's possible as well. And it's educational. I always think that, even if it's not for your business growth, even if it's not just for you as a student, but as a parent, or just knowledge, right? And you asked some very interesting questions, you and Gavin, just now. And so I think that it helps to give people an idea of what to expect, right? We say GIS as a platform for national development, conservation, NGOs. How can we better the work that we're doing in our NGO? How can we see data? We're talking about conserving land. We need to be able to see that dynamically in web-based apps on my mobile phone. And so they'll be able to see how these organizations are using GIS, understand its role. And if you're a parent or an educator, you're a professional, your organization may not be using it, but you can also use it because there are free tools available in Esri. Esri does have open source software, meaning that you don't have to pay for it. And so they could start to learn step by step on their own to be able to learn the technology. And then eventually they could do something with it as well.
Yeah. So that's also an interesting point, that even students who are looking at it for a career opportunity can learn more about uses, the way it's already being used, and opportunities as well. Yeah.
Well said. And I want to say that this past August, we trained almost 100 teachers, high school teachers. We collaborated with Ministry of Education, Ms. Cecilia Ramirez-Smith, Deputy Chief Education Officer, and we ran a 3-day course, and the high school teachers, they were excited. It was a lot. It's a lot of them, but we said, we're going to do it. We see the excitement in these teachers, and we thought this course, and we're going to do more things with the ministry, with the teachers, so they could see, they're like, we didn't know this technology can do this in their teaching, planning teaching. And the kids can get more excited because, if you're teaching a child, not to extend, but about rivers, they have to be remembering where that river is, or just one static page in their book.
Yeah.
You can just have these boys and girls just zooming through Kyle and looking at the actual rivers, count the rivers, looking at all this data that they have to cram by just looking one page.
And you
Imagine visual learners would benefit from that.
Well, I was going to say, like, you know that the quickness that children embrace technology nowadays, that I think that, you know, this sort of education would be really beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have.
We need to catch up. Belize needs to catch up, I'm telling you. Whenever I attend these conferences, I would come back and I'm like, okay, you know, step by step. And I want to say thank you to Channel 5 because you really been a dedicated partner supporting us in getting the word out. Really and truly, I am being honest about this because when you allow us to share, people learn about it.
Yeah. Now, I was just thinking of that river example. I would have remembered my tributaries more for my test if I'd seen it visually on a map.
And you know, there's so many examples, right? There's so many examples. I know we have limited time, and so we can't list all of them, but we will be contacting you soon because we have some plans to help in this area in the very near future.
Nice. So how do people sign up?
All right, they could go on our Facebook page or on our website, www.tbsl.bz/GISday, and the registration button is there. And as Loretta said, we will open it so you could just simply join us.
Nice. All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for telling us all about what you have planned for tomorrow, World GIS Day, and an opportunity for people to understand how they can use this type of technology and how it's already being used as well.
And thank you once again. I want to wish all my Garifuna brothers and sisters in Belize and the world a happy and safe Garifuna Settlement Day.
That's right. Thank you so much. You guys stay safe as well. We are going to go ahead and take a break.
And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Madisco, and they're going to be telling us all about their latest promotions. So you surely don't want to miss that. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
How can we support the emotional well-being of older adults during COVID-19? During the COVID-19 pandemic, and particularly while in quarantine, individuals, including older adults, may become more anxious, angry, stressed, agitated, or withdrawn, especially those who need healthcare assistance or have cognitive decline or dementia. Here are 4 strategies that can help you in supporting an older adult during this difficult time. 1. Communicate information and listen. Present with accurate, simple, and accessible information and facts about the COVID-19 outbreak, its progression, treatment, and effective strategies to prevent infection. Listen patiently to their needs and concerns. For older people with mild cognitive impairment or early stages of dementia, inform them of what is happening within their capacity and provide support to ease their anxiety and stress. 2. Promote positive mental and emotional health. Provide access to available mental health and psychosocial support services, also known as MHPSS services, for older adults and communicate when and how they can access them. Help older people keep regular routines and schedules as much as possible. You can also help them create new ones, including regular exercising, cleaning, daily chores, singing, painting, or other activities. Facilitate regular communication between older adults and their friends and families. 3. Help with medical needs. Make sure that older adults have at least up to 1 month of all the regular medicines that they may require. Explain how to use protective devices in a clear, concise way. Always be respectful and patient. 4. Assist with daily activities. Provide older people with details related to how and where they can get practical help if needed, like calling a taxi, dropping off supplies, having groceries delivered, and requesting medical care, as well as information on any locally available social support programs and services. For more information, consult the webpage of the Pan American Health Organization, www.paho.org/coronavirus.
I am Glenda Brown, and I lost my husband, Henry Brown Sr., to COVID. He was a pastor, and he loved the Lord. He got saved at age 16, and he did his best to walk with the Lord. When he was admitted, I said, well, it's good. He needed oxygen, and that is going to move up, and then, you know, he's going to be back. but it didn't happen that way. Eventually, he got intubated and sedated, and that was the part when we realized, it is getting real worse. We don't know what is happening. We prayed with him, we spoke encouraging words, but we weren't getting a response. We hope he heard, but I don't know. I eventually reached hospital unplanned. I spent an overnight in there Monday. That night, because I was tested positive, the doctor allowed me to go and see Henry. And so it was so good to be able to go to his ward. I get to rub his head. But he was saying he didn't think Henry was going to make it. There were much prayers going out on his behalf. But I knew God's will was what was going to be done. I think for me that did a lot. Even now, to could remember that I was able to, touch him and see him those last moments, just the day before he passed. I just thank God for that opportunity. COVID is terrible once it comes to your home. It's something else because you have to quarantine. It's painful. All of a sudden, the connection within the family break down. When Henry passed, the children came and they came to my room. I have windows on both sides of the house, and so that was how we communicated. We spoke from there. Even the funeral arrangement and all these things had to be done. And I went out there to see the vehicle pass. I didn't know they would stop, but I'm glad they did. And so I made my way to the street side. I had COVID, so I knew I had to keep a certain distance from other people. To look at that casket in that vehicle and know that Henry is in there. I watched online. It was so hard. I mean, this is Henry. He's gone. He's not going to be back again. Henry hadn't been vaccinated. He didn't want to be vaccinated. I was told that he said to someone in the hospital while he was there that if he gets out or when he gets out, he was going to get vaccinated. I know it's not the only prevention. Washing your hands, doing the other thing, taking your meds does help. So there's a number of things to do, and I encourage people to do all of them. God does protect us, but we are also not to put God to the test. And so I encourage people to do what needs to be done. There's a lot of things I missed him, just not having him coming home again. It's a journey ahead that I am trusting God to take me through. I know He will.
With eCash, bill payment is extremely convenient, and all utility companies accept eCash payments. What's even better? You get to split bills with your roommates, siblings, or whoever you desire. Simply open your eCash app, go to Bill Pay, tap the respective utility company, enter the information, and pay the bill. Then tap the transaction made. Tap Split the bill. Select Evenly. Send the request to who you are splitting the bill with, and get notified when they pay. Talk about making life easy and avoiding confusion. You can split the bill for restaurants, grocery stores, and for any eCash payment you make. To find your next yummy meal, hair treatment, or chill spot, simply open the app and utilize the geolocation service to see nearby businesses that accept eCash. Geolocation and bill payment make life a whole lot easier.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. for CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives. Delivering less than the very best is never an option.
And we are back. And if you're joining us right now, we're getting our third conversation for this morning started. And we are joined by representatives from Madisco, and they're going to be telling us all about their latest promotions. This morning, we've got with us Jamala Vasquez, who is the beverage consultant with Madisco, along with Maria Gonzalez, who is the hospitality supervisor. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of great stuff in front of us. Super exciting to have you here this morning. It's been a little while.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it seems like a long time. So it's about time.
For sure. Well, we definitely missed you.
Yeah, we're happy when we see you on set. All right, but I'm trying to figure out, clearly our attention goes this side, but towels. Tell us about this. What's happening here?
So,
Kevin, did you need to take a bath or something?
Not even.
Yeah.
That's it.
So it is, it's November, and we're hoping for a very good season in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
So, preparations need to happen. And we at Madisco are fully prepared to help, the customers and all the hoteliers to stock up, get fresh new towels, fresh new linens, and, just to help with every single thing from the kitchen all to the COVID preparation that needs to happen in the hotel with the new regulations, to get the ball rolling, So these are just some of the samples that I brought up here, but we have various lines, various designs, and just to get each what they really want and envision for their hotels.
Yeah. So you have different color schemes, I see.
Yes, we have different color schemes, different textures, different thicknesses. It basically it's for whoever wants their own individual design. Like for example, this one has squares.
Yeah.
See?
It has a little pattern on it.
And then this one, these are spa towels. So we even cater for the spa section of the hotels for those who have those. And these are very large towels. I will show you later.
Do you sell them by sets or do you sell them individually?
We sell them mostly by the dozen.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that you need to buy the dozen with us. We're very accommodating when it comes to that, because especially right now that there's a lot of B&Bs.
Yeah.
We do the catering for that, and right now we have a special sale going on. Right. We started Sunday.
Okay.
And we did a live show where we presented some of our little bundles that we bundled up for the general public, and in there we included some of the hospitality items.
Okay.
Like you can get these towels. Like you can get any of these bundles as it is.
Okay.
You can get that bundle 2 for $20. That's 2 towels in there. You can get this one 6 for $25.
Wow.
You can get the queen set sheet for $80. This includes 2 pillowcases, 1 flat, 1 fitted. You can get this one for $60. Let me see, it's a lot of prices. $61, and that includes 2 very nice, comfortable thick towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths.
Okay.
All in the beautiful same design, right?
For 61.
Yes, ma'am. And if you feel it, they're
Not
very
bad.
nice and very thick.
And this is
I love the
basically-
square design. Yeah.
Am I correct? These are, they usually tell you that you have to use white in the in the hotel business. So this.
And they're super
this takes-
soft.
Yes.
And so you're paying for some good quality as well.
Yeah.
And I
61 for a full set is a steal.
This is great for removing your makeup. With
That's what I thought it was.
Like,
when you go to
save your
hotels,
paper,
there's a black
guys.
one.
Save your paper.
Everybody goes to the black.
You didn't know that?
No.
When you see a dark towel in the hotel, that's the
That's
makeup
what
one.
it is.
Yeah.
That's your makeup towel, right?
Yeah.
So we are ready, right? And the next section of our sale that happened on Sunday was to show our retail products, just for the public. So we have here 4 sausages for $5.
Okay.
We have here 2 white, getting ready for Thanksgiving, and the cakes.
2 packs.
2 packs for this yellow, two packs for $8. So it's
Okay.
basically $4 each. Then we have here 2 pork stuffings for $10.50. And 2 fruit cocktails for those who want those delicious cakes or just to have it like that.
Yeah.
We have it for $15 because these are quite large, right? These are 30 ounces.
Oh, so
Perfect for baking.
Absolutely.
Baking. I love cold cake, so I
Yeah.
number 1.
And this is for your turkey, right? You could
Yeah.
use your pork stuffing.
For the practice
Yeah.
session people will have next week, which some people call Thanksgiving, and then our actual Christmas, right?
Yes. Well, in the US, it's the other way around, right?
Right.
This is the big thing, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm happy because I can't make stuffing from scratch.
Oh.
I won't even try. So these things just is a lot of time saver.
Yeah.
It's busy season for us.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a busy season for everybody. And a lot of people will have time to go in to do things from scratch.
Yeah.
So we have these to, help and.
Of course.
And the deals are also that you get a lot for your money as well.
And these are just a few of the deals.
deals.
We had over 30 bundles and we did very well for our first 2 days. We're hoping that the public can know, we can inquire. We
Yeah.
have 3 WhatsApp numbers now that will help us to, in case you don't want to walk in case you want to avoid that trip.
Yeah.
So we have 3 WhatsApp numbers and we'll have the Belize one which is 624 1828. We have the Belmopan location, which is 601 7440. And the San Pedro, which is 614 7520. No, we cater for all the branches and
So it means you can order and get it delivered or just order and pick up?
You can order and then pick it up.
Okay.
And delivery has to be over $50, which is very easy to get. You see,
Well,
right?
I was going to say,
All these bundles.
yeah, I would just get a couple of bundles and a couple of wine.
Well,
Yeah.
the favorite part of the bundles are coming right out right now.
You notice we stood close to it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
go over there.
I love a good soft towel and I love stuffings, but this
You
seems
know,
to be
it's
more
even
my,
easier. You have your wine. You can either take a shower with your soft towels, and then you get ready for a really nice evening with some bottles of wine.
Nice.
I think for the live show that we had on the Sunday, the sale items they've extended it to the Thursday.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's all applicable, all the discounts, everything. And we have wines in there as part of the discounts.
Yeah.
We have wines for $15. We have Chardonnays for $15. We have some reds for $20, $22, $24, $18. So you got it all. Look, guys, look at that. So you have $30. You can buy yourself some towels and a bottle of wine. Or you can buy some sausages and a bottle of wine. You notice I keep on stressing with the wine.
Yeah.
Everything feels better. In the morning you drink coffee. After that you drink wine.
Yeah,
right?
and you can get your white cake mixer, your yellow cake mix, and have your
that's
wine
right.
with it as well.
Exactly.
But I see some gift items here. I remember, was it last year that you had some packages of wines for gifts? That's also what we're doing here?
Yeah, so what we're gonna do today, the best part, I know you all like Moscatos, so we got the pink Moscato there. Gavin, you wanna
Let's do
throw
the
it
honor.
show that?
ahead.
And you can open it one time.
Right?
What
And
best?
it's an easy, it's
Right. Monday we have to go
He did
through.
not
but
even
Tuesday-
hesitate. It's like, let's do this.
Let's do that
let's
for you.
pour some
So
samples.
this pink Moscato is by De Bertoli, and this comes all the way from Australia. So it's not your usual Moscato that you get from Chile or you get from the US. It is
Let's pour one for everyone.
from Australia. So we have pink Moscatos, we have the regular Moscatos, and if you notice to the front, I have our award-winning wines, and they are the Emiliana Sparkling that you're going to be using tomorrow for your
For our anniversary.
anniversary.
So starting anniversary celebration.
So let's do this, the pre-celebration.
Yes.
All right, cheers.
Yay!
That's really good. Nice and sweet, but also very...
And not so sweet.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
very crisp flavor.
And you notice there's a little bit of fizz
Yes.
It's a little bit of fizz, so it'll keep it going for a while. And then
So you find people very attracted to Moscatos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
people
know,
like sweet wine.
I think we Belizeans, because we are a rum drinking country too.
True.
We kind of go for the sweeter wine.
Yeah.
It looks like sugar runs in our blood, you know.
Yeah, we're so sweet, we need more.
It's all the sugar water people give them as babies.
That's true.
Yeah. But looking at you said something. You said it was sweet, but not too sweet. Even with a Moscato, you could get varying levels of sweetness.
That's right.
Because I don't love sweet, but my family loves sweet, so
Yeah.
I have to balance it out sometimes.
Yeah, there is sweet and there is sweeter.
Yeah.
So, and remember, the best way about diluting the sweetness is the level of the chill.
Okay.
So if it is really, really cold, it's not that sweet.
Okay.
And then I suggest that as it gets warmer, use some soda water to keep the bubbles going in your glass.
And to dilute
diluting it and put some ice.
Or you could just drink really fast.
But it is like that, you know, when you drink it, when it's so cold, you drink it
It's
so
refreshing.
fast because it's so refreshing.
That's true.
The same with your Emiliana and your Chardonnays. I know people don't like Chardonnays. They kind of, there's a saying now, ABC, which says anything but Chardonnay. But you know, the organic wines,
Yes.
especially all the ones that come even from the US that are now not oaked. The Chardonnays are fantastic. The difference with the organic ones are they taste so clean. You go like, is this the same? So, you know, I always like, you know me, I'm always teaching somebody something.
And the secret is what you've always told us, the same thing you just said with the Moscato, it has to be properly chilled.
Properly chilled. And you know what? Wine is something that is so social. We do it with one person, we do it for a party, we celebrate big occasions, and we also use it when we're sad. Because guess what? Who's our partner? Your sadness. Oh, when you're really feeling down, don't worry.
Or
Misery
parties.
loves company.
Yeah.
And so there goes wine. And wine is social, wine is everything. And remember, your wine is best shared with people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? So you have our sparkling for wonderful occasions. Like I said, I like the wine opener.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
fancy.
It's fantastic.
And
It's
so
like
easy.
It's electric.
yes,
Right.
and you don't need to learn how to use this.
Exactly.
the usual.
Or hand it over to somebody. You know when you're
Yeah.
stubborn
Yeah.
and you're like, I can do it, I can do
do
it.
it,
Then eventually
and
you're
then
like,
you break the cork
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you
yeah.
blame the wine.
And then
Yes.
and then you have to start being
Yes.
creative about how to open it.
So this is the best gift you can give,
Yeah.
and we have that available at
oh, it has
Madisco.
LED lights. Nice.
Yes.
And
And
so
the
I-
thing is, it has a station and it's rechargeable.
Right? Yeah.
So it kind of shows you
So here's-
it's charged.
Yep.
And the charge lasts quite a few days. And
I think I've-
for those who like the
there
pop,
we go.
you don't use an opener, you're fine with that.
Yep.
And then we also have the award-winning wine from Emiliana, which is their Chateauneuf de Pape of Chile. That is their blend. It won some awards. Unfortunately, we couldn't go last year because they canceled the big Pro Wine show in Germany. But we are hoping we can go next year. And then I want to inform everybody, Adobe will be back at the end of the month. We are hoping.
Sounds
we're
like
looking
it's
forward.
a stock that goes fast.
Yeah, and you know, with the freight issues
Yeah.
that we've had,
Yep.
oh my God, it's taken so long. Finally, it
It's
will
back.
be here. It's
Yeah.
back. Our RST will be back. This will be back, and everything will be back
It's
on
just in
track
time.
by first week of
So
December.
let's talk about, you said that there are some that are at a special price for this discount. Are they here?
No,
Okay.
they're all out there.
So these are just featured wines that
These are
people will
featured
enjoy.
wines. We want to make sure that you know that we have them. And talking about coming on to Christmas, we have gift boxes, which make your work
Oh, that's
easier.
cool.
So we have boxes of 3s, we have 2s, we brought the 1s. You know, it's the presentation, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then if you're on the run and you go like, oh my God, I forgot a gift for somebody, you got bags. You got bags of different colors.
Wine's always a great gift.
Oh, yeah, sure. So,
Can't
you
go
know,
wrong.
there's something to please everybody. And then we should be getting some other gift lines. We have the wine charms. We have our whiskey stones. We have things for everybody.
So you can buy.
This is a beautiful bag too.
Exactly.
Right? This one.
So you see that?
Looks like special delivery from Santa.
We also have it in gray.
Ah.
So it looks really good. And remember, we are here to make your work easier. We do executive gifts, your corporate gifts, your employee gifts, your personal gifts. Hey, we'll do it, make it easy for you.
Right.
Call us, give us a time. We pick it, you give us at least 24 hours notice.
Yep. And then you can
And
make it
during the
happen.
busy season, maybe a little more time than that, right? 36 hours, but we'll make your wishes come true.
For sure, and I mean, anybody watching, I'm sure is going to want to take advantage of some of these deals. It looks really great.
Yeah.
From the wines to the towels to some of your food products which you've got. I mean, it sounds like it's like a one-stop shop. for this Christmas.
That's the idea, right?
That's the
One-stop
idea.
shopping, and we're going to release a Black Friday sale
Oh.
soon.
Nice.
Yeah, that's coming up.
So for everybody who wants to visit us, I'll just put the addresses here.
Yes.
So we have our Belize City branch at 1894-95 Cleghorn Street, right? We have Belmopan on the Hummingbird Highway. And I want to announce especially that we moved our San Pedro branch.
Okay.
It's no longer on Coconut Drive, but it is now at 55 Laguna Drive.
All right.
We do the formal opening December 2nd.
Nice. So,
Now, and I think what's important too is that you don't just do wholesale. So people can go in and pick up retail items. It's not just for hotels and the hospitality industry.
No. Right. We've made it easy. So this is what Madisco's vision was. We opened a retail department. And I'll tell you that I think it's like foresight. We opened it 2 years before the pandemic. And I'll tell you what, that kept us going.
Yeah.
That really kept us going. And we thank everybody for supporting us, you know.
And people have gotten the opportunity to sample all the wines. So when they do go to their restaurant, they'll say,
Right.
do you have that one?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a great place to buy it for personal and for gifts as well. And so
That's right.
Christmas is coming, so you definitely want to take advantage of some of the deals you can get at Madisco. But we are just almost out of time, so do we want to say thank you for coming in again, of course. But if you want to share anything about how people can come into contact, you shared the numbers earlier, you shared the locations. Any last messages for some of our viewers?
We're just a call away, and we await you at Madisco. We await your phone call, and we want to wish everybody a safe Garifuna Day. Please, guys, remember we are still in a pandemic. Keep your distance, wear your mask. We protect each other by wearing our masks. And we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving toast. And we want to wish the
Open
station,
your eyes.
Open your eyes, 13 years of
13
existence.
years tomorrow.
Right.
And you've been here for quite a few of them.
I know, I've been
quite
here
a few
for
New
every one of
Years.
the
Yeah. We've popped quite a few champagnes
Oh,
here.
yes. And you will pop some more.
Yeah.
Compliments of Madisco tomorrow.
We look forward to it.
For sure.
So we wish everybody a happy week, a safe week, and we will await your call. We will await your presence.
Yeah. And as you said,
Madisco.
Maria, the savings, the discounts last until Thursday?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so people can take advantage of these bundles. Great possibilities as to what you can do from the hospitality items, kitchen items, and even some of your favorite wines that you can get at a reduced cost.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming in, and you know where to find Madisco if you are looking for a gift or for something for yourself. But with that, we are going to be taking a very short break, and when we come back, I'll be talking about some trending social media topics, and we'll have our wrap-up. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back after our break.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash. She remembers that eCash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the eCash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link. She taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made. Then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call OnNet, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 5 Caribbean Media Awards for 2019 and 2020. Best Television News Item, Best Responsible Coverage of Children's Issues, Best Health Education Journalism, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with special mention by the jury in the Best Television News Item category.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
Reduce your risk of viral illness like the flu or the coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing with a tissue. Throw away, then wash hands immediately. Avoid close contact with anyone who has the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or nearest health center and share your travel history. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Morning, John. Your baby they grow up fast and he looks so cute. Not true? And he on a light bed, and I love the fact that I always have clean water to take care of her.
Girl, you know you're lucky because when I'm in the group, my picnic, the problem to get clean water for bathing and feeding.
The water board only charge a small monthly fee for clean water, and so people not like the idea at all. But for me, it's more than worth it.
Girl, you know you're right.
I see it as an investment because if we don't pay, then we don't have clean water by the time the MJ grow up. So that's definitely an investment. One investment in a life.
Pay your water bill today and guarantee clean water tomorrow.
The Department of Rural Development is working on achieving Goal 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which is to ensure access to water and sanitation for all.
And we're back. And if you're joining us right now, we are just talking about some trending social media topics for Trending Talks Tuesdays before we get our show wrapped up. This is where I like to talk a little bit about what's been trending on social media over the past week. And we've got a lot to talk about this morning as well. One of the things which I found really interesting was an announcement that was made yesterday coming out from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Barbados that they are actually going to be the first country in the world with a digital embassy on the metaverse. Now, if you keep up with some technology news, you'll know that Facebook made some historic announcements in the past few weeks talking about ways that they're going to be changing their company, expanding their presence online, and talking about the change of the company into Meta and the Metaverse. Now, Metaverse is still kind of new, so it's not 100% easy to explain. A lot of the new digital trends that have been coming out lately, I have people wondering how exactly this is going to work, but I thought that this was a super interesting topic to talk about, being that Barbados is one of our regional neighbors, and it's interesting to see that a country like this is taking this first step. There have been reports about this move talking about purchasing digital real estate. They're going to have an embassy. And I think this is going to open the door for a whole lot of new exciting changes that we're going to see on the internet and online. There's, of course, a picture of Barbados. And I think that this is a super interesting topic just to get us started to see where we can go. People are talking about diplomatic services and others being offered online, as well as how they can use this technology as a conduit for trade relations and other things that will be taking place over the internet. So this is where things are going, super interesting. And of course, because it is related to the internet, it was trending all over social media yesterday, especially on Twitter, people asking how this is going to work, but I'm sure we're going to find out soon. Now, turning to some entertainment news, another thing which was trending this week, which I thought was really, really funny, was that it was announced a few weeks ago that a movie was going to be made about the infamous Jonestown mass suicide or massacre which took place in Guyana. And playing the lead role is going to be Leonardo DiCaprio, who is going to be playing the role of Jim Jones. Now, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio is a great actor, so people are talking about the movie. But the funny thing is that when the announcement came out, people were starting to make the confusion between Jim Jones from Jonestown and Jim Jones, the rapper. So a lot of great memes started to come out. So we see a picture right here of Leonardo, his face superimposed on Jim Jones, rapper. So of course, if you know Love and Hip Hop and some of his famous songs like Ballin', when you saw some of these memes, they were really, really funny. I mean, I was laughing. There's another one looking at Leonardo DiCaprio about to play Jim Jones. So it's not Jim Jones the rapper, even though I think that would be a really funny movie as well. People are also posting some clips online of some famous funny clips from Love and Hip Hop and saying, oh, Leonardo's going to be great when he does this scene. But I thought that was really funny. There were lots of memes trending all of last week, and we'll see how the movie works out and if Leonardo DiCaprio or rapper Jim Jones is going to respond. If we do, pretty sure it's going to be funny as well. Turning to some local news on social media, last week we were getting lots of reports by a very popular Mexican YouTuber who is known by the name of Luisito Comunica. He's one of the biggest social media influencers in the Spanish-speaking world. He has over 40 million YouTube subscribers, and he has a huge audience. He made a video about coming to Belize. He crossed the border, as you can see right here. He crossed the northern border, made a video, shared some pictures about his travels around Belize. There we see him in Belize City, and you know, he was making the rounds, so people, especially Spanish speakers, would know that this was a pretty big deal because of his huge following. And of course, in his video, he was talking about how he learned about the culture, how he enjoyed his time here. And of course, one of the interesting facts that he brought up is that it might seem like a given that, you know, all Mexicans know a lot about Belize because we're neighbors, but that's not necessarily the case. Once you get past our border state, Quintana Roo, the knowledge, let's just say, or the awareness of Belize gets a bit less. So him being such a popular thing is definitely going to be boosting a lot of views and image, especially in the Latin American world. And it was pretty exciting to have him here, and hopefully he'll come back and we'll see if that can lead anywhere else. And finally, we are going to be talking about a clip which has resurfaced. Earlier, we were talking about the fact that tomorrow is going to be our 13th anniversary show, and we're going to be celebrating that with a lot of fun stuff. But something that was trending recently, it came back to trend on TikTok actually, is a video from one of our friends, Candice Gibson, who is of course a Belizean-born journalist who is working in New York and at MSNBC. But this clip is a clip wishing the show happy
Morning, Belize! Wait, no, you can't. Really
happy anniversary from when he was at ABC World News. And it's been resurfacing, and so because we are celebrating our anniversary again tomorrow, we wanted to bring it back and show you because we thought it was really great that this was trending. So here's Candice and his colleague wishing Open Your Eyes a happy anniversary.
Wait, no, you can't really say that. That's a different show.
What's this show?
That's just open your eyes.
Okay.
So, yeah. So just open your eyes.
Okay.
What are you doing?
You said open your eyes.
Yeah. That's what it is. Open your eyes. Hello, open your eyes.
Hi.
No, say hello, open your eyes.
Hello.
The name of the show is Open Your Eyes. Good Morning Belize is another show that we can't talk about. Open Your Eyes.
Am I doing it right now?
Happy anniversary, Open Your Eyes.
Well, I gotta say that's a great throwback.
Right? I know, super interesting. I'm glad they brought it back and it was trending on TikTok again. But those are just some of the topics which I found interesting that were coming up over the past week. We like to talk to you about social media, and of course you can always contact us and tell us if you want to talk about anything as well.
Yeah, a few things there definitely. I share with you the general lack of information about Belize for Mexicans. You know, you ever meet Mexicans, they're like, oh, I know Belize, the free zone.
Right,
It's
yep.
like, we have more than the free zone in Belize. And that clip with Candice and Diane is just one of my favorites as always. Because one, I think it really does show how oftentimes, you know, co-hosts just develop this really funny, quirky relationship, and they had that.
Yep.
And yeah, it's interesting. I got it a few times over the past few days, and I said to myself, but this is old.
Right.
But perfectly timed, because tomorrow, Gavin,
is our anniversary.
Yeah.
13 years.
13 years. I can't believe it. Of course, you know, we always have a very special show for anniversary, so we encourage you to tune in. We're going to be taking a reflection on the past year and you know, looking back at some of our favorite shows, having great conversations, and that's what you can look forward to when you open your eyes tomorrow. And open your eyes, not
open your eyes.
Although I do feel like I kind of need to do that
Right.
today. All right, but that's all the time we have for today.
Yep. If you want to send us an email, you can contact us at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ and Instagram at OYE Belize.
You can remember to tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind.
and your heart open.
We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, please.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.